Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ray Tampa podcast. Our podcast offers bold commentary on various subject matters with a laser-like focus on the truth. My name is Ray Tampa, and I'm the host of the Ray Tampa podcast. We have in our studio Mr. Russell Cato, a retired educator with more than 40 plus years of experience in Pinellas County schools. And Mr. Jamie Wilson III, a healthcare provider with more than 25 years of experience as a physical therapist. My co-host, my dynamic co-host. Partially, today's podcast will serve as a follow-up to last week's podcast concerning Mayor Welch'S awarding $250,000 to 17 city employees in the amounts of $10, $15, $20, and $25,000. This announcement came to our attention on Friday, August 16th, and we taped a podcast about it on Sunday, August 18th. The podcast was posted on YouTube and Facebook Sunday evening. We shared comments from residents from various walks of life who were opposed to the mayor's initiative. Also, we analyzed the possible effect of these awards on the attitudes of hundreds of other city employees. Stunningly, and I do mean stunningly, the mayor announced on Monday, August 19th, that he was rescinding the bonus checks from all recipients. The mayor had never given the impression that he was listening to the residents before. Certainly, thousands of residents didn't feel he was listening throughout the Tropicana field discussions. The matter concerning the development of Tangerine Plaza didn't make residents feel as though he was listening either. To many, he portrayed himself as an unwilling listener concerning the Manhattan casino investors. Scores of residents complained they couldn't get a chance to talk with the mayor, that they were feeling ignored, unimportant, irrelevant. Yes, stunning is appropriately used here. However, Mayor Welch has an opportunity to do a reset. He has an opportunity to demonstrate that he is the mayor for all of St. Pete, not just a few Blacks, not just his small circle of yes men and women, but for all of St. Pete. He has an opportunity to bring real meaning to the phrase, quote, "We are St. Pete," end of quote. Residents shouldn't have to question we who. After the mayor rescinded the bonus checks, he, in our estimation, should have left the matter alone at that point. He approved the checks, he listened to the public's outcry, and he rescinded the horrible decision. Great. Great until, that is, the next bit of news surfaced that indicated the HR director had been suspended for 5 days without pay. The suspension was scheduled to begin Monday, August 26, 2024. Now, the mayor has created another very unflattering feeling that is spreading like wildfire throughout the community. People are feeling that the HR director is being scapegoated, that the mayor is looking very amateurish. Two, the mayor needs to buy, if he doesn't already have one, a desk ornament that boldly states, quote, "The buck stops here," end of quote. The buck stops here. In executive leadership roles, this phrase has to have demonstrated meaning. Demonstrated meaning. Okay, at this point, my co-host and I are going to delve into a very lively discussion concerning the follow-up incidents to our previous podcast. Jamie, what you have?
Well, as far as the people paying the money back, there are some people that's already spent that money. There really are, and that's the truth. And that's something the mayor should have to eat, because he made that decision. You know, people are struggling all over, and I feel like another thing he could have done instead of doing bonuses is allow for overtime or something like that. And just like the articles we've read, you know, you got storm workers doing hurricanes. These people are like physically working, back-breaking work. You know, they're out there lifting branches and cutting trees. They're really doing things. Whereas these people, I'm not saying that, I don't know how much energy was put into it, but he could have offered overtime, because at the most, physically, he probably got a few paper cuts. That's probably it. And I'm sure it was tedious, but I think the money he does not get back, he should eat that.
Eat it.
Because it's on him. And
Okay.
and as far as the Chris Gorella?
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Gorella. I think that was weak on his part, because the mayor said in a statement, "The buck stops here." No, bro, the buck starts
He
and
actually
stops.
he said
Yeah,
that?
that was one of his one of the things that I read.
Oh, okay.
He said that. So when you said, I thought you read it.
Okay, no,
But
I
anyway,
hadn't read that.
Yeah. So it starts and stops here with you, because ultimately you're the one in the paper backtracking and trying to fight or whatever. But because you should have checked that. That's something, if I'm out front and I know I'm going to get scrutiny from the public, I'm going to make sure, show me in writing where I'm insulated, where I'm covered. Show me in writing. Yeah, that may have been this guy's job, but before I put my neck on a chopping block, I'm going to make sure I'm insulated, that I'm correct. He didn't do that. You just can't be throwing it out there like you the man. That was his mistake. He should have. And if you wanted to punish this guy some way, like, look, I'm gonna give you 5 days, but it's going to be outside the media. We're going to quietly do this. The next time this happens, blah, blah, blah. Do your job, bro. But I'll take the hit, because initially it's on me. Be a boss if you think you're a boss. Be a boss. Handle the good and the bad. That's
Okay, great. Great. Russ, what you got?
I like to piggyback off on Jamie. I think what is important here is leadership, right?
Leadership.
Leadership.
Yes.
If you're going to have leadership, admit your wrongness. That's what I don't understand.
Follow your own soul.
Yeah, admit your wrongness. And I go back to the article that you had written a week ago, when he himself said, "I approve this."
That's correct.
There you go.
He
That's correct.
said
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I approve this. This
Right.
was in my budget. I did this.
Correct.
So now 2 days or 3 days later, you look for an excuse for your wrongness. That is not leadership, right?
Scapegoating.
Russ, you're hitting on all cylinders. You're right.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said in a very arrogant way, as far as I'm concerned. No, I approved it. Like you said, it was in the budget, and it was within my administrative area of responsibility.
Own it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Own
with
it,
that
right.
being said,
Mhm.
it's yours.
Right. Be a boss.
So don't come back later and
Mhm.
try and clean it up
Exactly.
by suspending the HR director because he didn't give you the advice that now you want to have had.
That's
Right.
it.
And
Man,
you don't
give me-
assume nothing when you're out there, because bad or good, it's going to be on Ken Welch, bad or good.
Yeah.
So you make sure you're insulated. You make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Yeah, true enough, if that's his job, what have you, but it's ultimately on you, because you're going to get all the accolades if it's something positive. You know, you're going to get the Welch parade.
Uh,
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So handle your business, be a boss. Bad
Yes,
or good,
yes,
be a
yes.
boss.
Rush, got anything else there?
Well, I go back to what Jamie said too, and Jamie made a comment earlier. Well, what was the legal system on this damn thing? You know,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden the guy come up and say, okay, yeah, we were wrong. We violated Florida state laws. Well, goddamn, you should have known that in
Yeah.
the beginning.
I'm gonna tell you all something. That's a great point about
Mhm.
where was the legal
They didn't check it.
advisors? Where were the legal advisors? I was at an event Tuesday night, and a former mayor was at that event.
Mhm.
That former mayor told me and others at that event that that move was illegal.
Mhm.
That move was illegal.
Mhm.
That former mayor did his research and found that from the state of Florida, there was a rendering that was illegal.
Mhm.
And that's what Welch made the decision. Let me hurry and get that money back.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's Florida statute 215.425.
Okay.
And basically it says is it has three parts to it. It says bonuses are based on performance. Then you evaluate the process. And it has to be laid out beforehand, and all employees have to know about it
yes.
before the evaluation begins. So
Correct.
that's that little carrot to make
Yeah.
it work harder to get the bonus.
Right,
basically.
right,
So,
right.
um,
Exactly,
Yeah. He could
exactly.
have just gave him overtime and he'd have been straight. That way you ain't slapping nobody. You're not making other people within the city, other departments feel a certain kind of way. Give them the overtime, just like they do the storm workers with, as I said before. I think that's fair.
Well, a lot of ways he could have handled it so
yeah.
much differently and not gotten this type of backlash. But the thing about it is, Welch needs to understand that his little circle of yes men and yes women are not doing him any favors.
No.
Welch can stand in the middle of Central Avenue and say, I can shoot someone and not lose any support from these people.
Yeah, but that's his.
These people, because no matter what he says, no matter what he does, there's a little crew of people in this city
Mm-hmm.
that are all up his butt,
Yeah.
okaying and cheerleading,
Yeah.
right or wrong, his stupidity. And that is stupid.
And no.
He needs, and he needs people
Mm-hmm.
that are going to offer him opinions that are not in favor of what he says because he said it. Bullshit.
Yeah, well, typically with people that don't want to hear whatever other people have to say, they're less transparent. And that's what we've been dealing with.
Yeah.
You
And speaking of transparency, you all remember I read toward the end of our last podcast some points where I suggest that Welch is very similar to Ron DeSantis in many ways. And I went through a list. Just a couple of days ago, Tampa Bay Times put out an editorial. And their editorial reads as follows. Here's the editorial. It says, DeSantis, how did secrecy work for your Florida State Parks plan? How did secrecy work for your Florida State Parks plan? And the subtitle says, soliciting input, hearing feedback, just not the governor's thing. Now, we can say the same thing about Welch,
Yeah.
because he tried to keep these bonuses secret. City council members were asking, why didn't we know about this?
Exactly. Exactly.
Why were we blindsided about
They
this?
were not happy about it.
And they were not happy about it. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Furthermore, that editorial, here's the first sentence. The fierce blowback to Governor Ron DeSantis's proposal to plunk golf courses and lodges into Florida state parks was entirely predictable, and probably why his administration pursued the plan on the down low in the first place.
Still a form of corruption to me.
On the down low. So Ken Welch probably knew he was going to get blowback on these bonuses and tried to push them through on the down low.
The transparency issue.
On the down low. So this further supports what I said about the two of them very similar.
And you know what, Ray, and I need to say this to all of us. You know, I'm at one time, I don't say at one time, I was a strong supporter for Welch for being mayor. I really was.
Well,
We
let
all
me
were.
say it.
We all were.
You know, I worked for that man.
Yeah.
I
we
worked
all
my
were.
butt off for that man to get elected. But it was only after he started ignoring people, not returning phone calls and so forth and so on, that I saw that that's not how you govern. You can't treat your residents, and it wasn't because I worked for him. You can't treat your residents that way. They need to feel like they have a voice in City Hall.
I had a guy the other day come to me, just a guy off the streets, but I know it. And his question to me, well, Mr. Cato, is this the Ken Welch you know, his daddy? He was trying to relate this. And I said to him, yeah, that's Mr. Welch's son. And he said, I just can't believe it. I left him alone.
I can't believe that that's Mr. Welch's son.
Yeah, I left him alone.
That's a powerful statement.
Because he's just an ordinary citizen that live on 16th Street. You know,
I'm going to say this. When Ken Welch first announced he was running for mayor, he was out there walking through neighborhoods alone. That was not a good look. I saw that on the news, and I saw that in person, that he was out there campaigning alone. I called Deborah Figg Sanders, and I told Deborah that I had been asking people the question, what do you think of the mayor's race? Not mentioning any names, just the question, what do you think of the mayor's race? And people would just blurt out, I'm not about that Welch guy. He doesn't even speak to you in the neighborhood, and you don't see him much around here, et cetera, et cetera. So I called Deborah Figg Sanders and told her what I'd been hearing, and I had been hearing it regularly. And Deborah said to me, Ray, why don't you set up a meeting with Ken Welch and talk to him? That's not what I had in mind. I said the same things to Renee Flowers. Before I called Deborah, I called Watson Haynes and told Watson what I said to Deborah. And Watson said, Ray, thank you. I'm going to call Ken Welch right now. And Ray, thanks again. So I'm trying to alert his tight circle of friends what I've been hearing to see if there could be some adjustments. And everybody was hoping that he would do well, and he did do well.
Yes, he did do well.
He did extremely well. But then he get in office and turn his back on the people that supported him.
Yeah.
Turned his back on the people that, now he's coming up for re-election. What does he think these same people gonna do?
I'm in doubt.
Yeah, because that little small group of loyalists alone ain't gonna get him in there.
So, yeah.
Very doubt.
Yeah.
Well,
Not for real.
he has a couple of people, I'm gonna say a couple because I can't say more than a couple, that mean well, that are not that yes man, yes woman type, that are signaling to Welch right things to do.
Right.
But it's on him to take the advice.
Yeah.
It's on him to take the advice. But summarizing again where we are and how we got to this point, you know, you give these bad bonuses, you rescind these bad bonuses, you in a way apologize to the city and the residents about this decision. Then you look for a scapegoat.
Take full responsibility.
Wrong. Wrong. I was at a class reunion function last night, and a top level administrator was at that reunion. That individual came over to me and said he was looking for a scapegoat. I was in the restroom, and a retired fireman, black fireman, was in there. And I asked him, what you think about this bonus debacle? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, I sent you the podcast. He said, oh yeah. Oh man, that was bullshit. That's what he said. So people all throughout the city have something to say about what went on. And the best thing that Welch can do from my standpoint is shut the hell up, leave it alone, it's done.
I think the one thing about leadership is if everything is going good, you take credit for it, okay. But when something happens like this, as what Jamie said, own up to it and tell the public you made a
mistake.
mistake. Because the average person out there on the street is looking at this, Ray.
Yeah.
You're representing me, but at the same time, you cannot own up to your mistakes.
Right.
That is not good. That is not leadership. No.
And he basically said he made a mistake, but he didn't do it right. He should have said that. And that thing about the other gentleman that he suspended, that shouldn't even made the media. You know, he should have just handled it, like I said, like a boss, whether it's bad or good. And because that's, to me, that gives you credibility, not in good times. Good times are easy. Bad times is when you can stand, say, I did this, it's on me, bring it. I'll take, you know, and I'll try to do better next time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not looking weak if I'm hollering I'm the boss the whole time, you know what I'm saying? And lose the arrogance. Lose the arrogance. You got to communicate with people, more transparency. Dude, from the beginning, Welch, we wanted you to win. We wanted you not just win your leg. I'm saying like win as a mayor, do good. We had high hopes, but you can't get in there and make the people that voted for you feeling used.
Yeah.
Because that's how you feel.
That's how
And
I
with
feel.
feeling used, at least with me, comes pissed offness. So don't do that.
Well, he has announced that he is seeking re-election. He is seeking
He can seek it.
re-election. Yeah, he can seek
He
it.
got some house cleaning to do.
Yeah, he got an answer.
And some,
Yeah.
you know, looking inward to do.
I thought it was very interesting that a former mayor would so confidently say that was illegal. And he had the document that Jamie just quoted, the legal document.
Yeah, look for it in the components.
He had the legal document, you know. So if Jamie could pull it up,
Anybody can.
this former mayor had it, anybody could have done that.
It's in one of the articles.
And you
too.
got one of the top lawyers in the city getting his 25,000 and not saying anything. Suspend his ass.
And I still go back to the money that was, you know, paid out. You got some people, everybody in the city ain't making 100K or whatever. They just, and he paid it out. He needs to eat that. They
Yeah.
need to fix that because you got people like, oh, I can't wait to get it. Oh, it's a blessing from God. I could do so much, pay on my roof or whatever. So for the regular lay people that got it, he needs to just he needs to deal with that. That's on him. That's part of being that boss, falling on your sword. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because granted, the city wastes money on stupid shit all the time.
Mhm.
So that little 250 and change, yeah. If for the ones that spent it, we spent it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go with this. Russ, last week and in previous shows, you've been the main person bringing this point forward. We've tried to invite Welch supporters to come talk to us, but they don't care to do it. They don't want to publicly share their joy
You're right.
for this man. I called yesterday one of his strongest supporters. I'm talking about the one that'll help Welch get dressed.
Whoa, boy.
And he picked up the phone and didn't say anything. And then the phone went dead. I didn't call him back. He didn't call me back. But I tried. And I wasn't going to beg him. And I didn't beg the many others that I tried to reach in the past. You know, come talk to us. Give us your version. Let us know. If we're wrong,
Right.
tell us we're wrong.
Right.
I don't know why they don't do that.
But you know what? The way Welch is with transparency and a little bit of arrogance, I can see him saying, you guys don't talk to the media. You talk to the media, anybody, you done. You're done here. I can see that, like a gag order. I can see him doing that
Give 'em
internally.
gag order.
You know, internally with his people. You know what I'm saying? With his people. Like,
Yeah.
you do that,
You need
nothing
to,
about it, you're done.
he needs to gag himself right now and leave this bonus deal
Yeah.
alone.
He should have just took the hit
Yeah.
and not mention about that other guy, did that internally and quietly if you're gonna do it at all, so that he's not put out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There are a lot of other things that are out there that we can talk about that will show poor judgment. A lot of other things that will show poor judgment, but we'll just save those for another day.
I will say, how much time does he have left being mayor?
What, about a year and a half or something
Yeah.
like that?
If he wants to turn over a leaf and try to be decent, I think he has some time. I mean, although this deal with the raise that's bad. That's bad. This little money thing, people will forget that after a while.
Yeah.
This deal with the raise is bad.
Yeah.
But if he try to turn over a new, be more transparent, talk to people, get out there, you know, don't just get out in the neighborhoods and visit with people when you're running for something. I hate when politicians do that. You don't see them no other time until they want to run for something, till they want something.
I think what has to happen here, the money that is involved in this deal, somebody got to explain to the community of the gas plant area, how is this going to benefit? That's my thing.
Maybe Gwen Reese can do it
Maybe.
since she got her bonus check.
Yeah,
Or she gets her bonus check on a regular basis. Maybe Gwen Reese can do it.
I think Ray had one of, in this last statement, Ray put here, the buck stops here. That's what this thing is all about.
Yeah, those were his
And
words.
when I see him in a fraternity, I got to.
You're gonna ask him that in a fraternity
Yeah, that's
brothers meeting.
That's why I got. to
Okay, fellas, we're at the end as always. These little 30 minutes pass fast. So I'm gonna bring it to a close and say to my co-host, thank you again and again and again for a job well done. We want to thank our listeners for tuning in to the Ray Tampa podcast on 99.1 FM, The Bird, each and every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. And we want to say to everyone, please go to YouTube and type in the Ray Tampa podcast, and you can see them all. You can see them all. With all of that being said, good evening.